is just this idea that we need to look at this impeachment. We've been at it from 25 angles on the show. We could look at this impeachment as an opportunity to refresh, to renew, to recapture control of our foreign policy in this country. Where we are right now, what many people are now realizing is that we are watching the Democrats in Washington go after President Trump, try to remove him from office, in significant part because they do not wish to have the public becoming aware of all that was going on inside the Ukraine in 2016 with the then ambassador under President Obama, Yovanovitch, with our own State Department using your tax dollars going over through the State Department, your money going over to the Ukraine and funding organizations that George Soros created the spider web going out from George Soros's organizations that are literally determined, intending to create disruption, to create unrest and foment unrest and protest with the mission of bringing down that country and putting in place, resulting the unrest, resulting in the removal of the government, the overthrow of the government, putting in a government they like better. This is a conscious, ongoing plan by George Soros, who just deplores the concept of human liberty, deplores all the concepts on which America was based, and you have people in our State Department happily aiding and abetting that Soros effort. In particular, why I say maybe the impeachment can be used in a positive way if the House actually votes for impeachment, which I got to tell you, Pelosi's getting nervous because the polling is not looking good in swing states. Heartland America is telling her, stop hassling the president. Wait it out. You have an election coming up, in a year, basically. And if people aren't happy, they'll take him out. And if they want him to be president, who do you think you are removing him? So Pelosi realizes she faces that threat. But back to my point about the positive value of the impeachment. If we do get the impeachment vote by the House and it goes over to the Senate, we need to have our Senate do a full hearing about every single aspect of the Ukrainian-American relations going back at least to 2016, probably 2015, all the involvement of the FBI, Hillary Clinton, the Democrat National Committee, the State Department, helping the Ukrainian government interfere in America's elections on behalf of Hillary, to help Hillary and defeat Trump. This is what the Democrats want to avoid. They want the impeachment, and they don't want you Americans understanding what really happened. But on foreign policy, we'll have to do this another day, but on foreign policy, part of what's happened over decades and decades is the State Department has grown in power, is viewed as a bureaucracy full of extremely wise individuals who are just, filled with knowledge of the detailed history of countries and the diplomacy and the people and the tactics. And so they tout themselves as experts, and they become kind of the government itself. They function as the foreign policy arm of the government, and almost separate from, unique from, unattached to the presidency, and under President Trump actually working against the presidency. So the notion of foreign policy is a constitutional right, obligation, and responsibility of the president, and the president says foreign policy, and the State Department executes it, and the people inside the State Department who lost track of who's in charge, lost track of who's actually supposed to be setting policy, whose policy they must follow, bringing that State Department back, and more broadly speaking, bringing the bureaucracy in Washington back under the constitutional structure of our country, would be at least a healthy outcome of this impeachment.